Meanwhile, a dispute is brewing in India. It is about jobs, specifically about the jobs data. A tug of war has begun between the Indian government and a private bank. It started last week when economists at CITIBANK made some big claims about India's job market. They released a report with 3 key highlights. Number 1, India is not creating enough jobs. According to CITIBANK, India needs to create 12 million jobs every year, and it needs to keep doing this over the next decade. 12 million every year. This is to absorb the new entrants in the job market. A lot of young people are entering the market. They need jobs. So India must create 12 million vacancies annually. But that's apparently not happening. Even though India is growing at around 7% every year, CITIBANK says this rate of growth is not enough. Because at the current rate, India will be able to create only 8 to 9 million jobs per year. So they say the country is falling short by at least 3 million. That's the first claim in this report. The second one is about the quality of jobs. CITIBANK says India needs to create better quality jobs where workers contribute more to the country's economic growth. It points to sectors like agriculture. 46% of India's workforce is engaged in agriculture, 46%, but the sector contributes less than 20% to India's GDP. What about manufacturing? Less than 12% of India's workforce is employed in this sector, so there is scope for improvement here in manufacturing. The third claim is about the pandemic and its impact on jobs. There are fewer workers in the formal sector in India now than there were before the pandemic. The share has fallen from 24% to 21%, meaning just 21% of India's workforce has a job that pays a steady salary or wages. That is the diagnosis of CITIBANK. It says India needs more jobs and better quality jobs. It also needs more workers employed in the formal sector. And what is India's response? The government has rejected this report. This week, New Delhi issued a rebuttal. It says CITIBANK did not take into account all the official data released by the government. The statement says, and I quote, "The Ministry of Labour and Employment cautions against the selective use of private data sources that can lead to misleading conclusions about India's employment scenario." Today, India's Reserve Bank, the Reserve Bank of India, published its own jobs data. This is India's central bank. And this data challenges claims made by CITIBANK. The Indian Central Bank says 46 million Indians joined the workforce last year, and this is the highest increase since the early 1980s. Plus, compared to the previous year, job growth has jumped by almost 6%. So according to the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, the pace of job creation remains robust. Basically, this has become a war of data sets. New Delhi is countering the CITIBANK report with its own data and numbers. Now, data is a powerful tool to make an argument, and we have no way to independently verify either set. But here's another indicator, and that is the lived experience, which shapes the public sentiment and perception. Take the United States, for instance. Last year, their unemployment rate dropped to 3.4%. In the US, 3.4%. It was the lowest in 54 years, a record low, in fact. Americans should have been happy about this, but they were not. Multiple surveys showed this, that a majority of Americans felt that their economy was in recession and that America's economic situation was worsening. So while the data shows one picture, it may not have meaningfully impacted people to feel optimistic. And this perception matters too. When fresh graduates struggle to get placed, when existing workers struggle to find jobs, when companies fold up and people are laid off, they tend to question growth numbers. And India has one of the youngest workforces in the world. So while official figures say that there has been job growth, clearly more needs to be done. It is important for policymakers to have an ear to the ground and listen to people more carefully.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On this today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can we expect